Hello and welcome to today's episode of the 12 Days of Christmas Cooking with me, Richard Palmer. Now, I've tried to give a festive twist to as many of the recipes in this series as possible, but to me, nothing says Christmas like today's recipe does. It's got all the best elements of Christmas wrapped up in one nice tasty package. Let's have a look at what we're going to be cooking today. So what could be more Christmassy than a Christmas pasty? And that's what we're going to be making now. Now, it might seem like a lot of effort. It's quite a long-winded recipe. It's one that I've come up with myself, I'm quite proud to say. But it is worth the effort. When you first bite into that pasty, it's just filled with all the flavours of Christmas. So let's make a start. Now, I've got in front of me my little chicken fillet and a couple of rashers of decent quality bacon. It doesn't have to be anything too special. And we're just going to start by chopping it all up into small little tiny bits. We don't want it too big because it's going to go inside the pasty. So let's do that. So once you're all done with your chopping, you can head over and place a frying pan onto a medium heat. We're going to need it to be a fairly hot flame so that we don't just boil the meat. We want to actually fry the meat. And place into your pan, it's a little bit of oil. And heat that up. Once that's heated, just pop your chicken and your bacon into the pan and fry away. Put all of your sausage, chicken and bacon to one side, and we're now going to work on the sauce, the all-important sauce. Now, I've measured out 25 grams of butter, and I'm just going to put that on a medium heat just to melt it down. And I've also measured out 25 grams of flour, and I've measured 350 millilitres of full-fat milk, which is just over half a pint. So equal quantities of flour and butter and about half a pint, 350 millilitres of milk. Okay, and what we're going to do is let the butter melt down in the pan, which will just take a couple of minutes. And once that's done, we're going to add the flour to it and cook it for a minute. Now, once you've cooked the butter and flour together for a minute, you can take the pan off the heat and get your whisk ready and the milk. And what we're going to do is add a little bit of milk at a time and whisk it in until it's smooth every time. Now just do it gradually, it'll just take a couple of minutes to do, but you'll soon get there. Just incorporate all of the milk into the butter and flour mixture. Now, once you've incorporated all the milk into the flour and butter, you should end up with a nice, loose, liquidy sauce. And what we're going to do is add 4 or 5 fresh sage leaves to the mixture. Just plonk them in, mix them in a little bit, and then return the pan to the heat. And the important thing to do once you return the pan to the heat is turn the heat down just a touch and whisk constantly until the sauce thickens. Okay, the sauce is just starting to come to a little simmer now, and it's nice and thick, so it's now time to remove the pan once again from the heat. We don't want to let it boil, as the sauce will then spoil. So remove from the heat, and what we're going to do now is we're going to get a bowl and just decant the sauce into a bowl, and what you're going to do is remove the sage leaves. So I'm going to do that by holding the whisk in the pan and making sure they don't come out. So just pour away, keeping the sage leaves in the pan, and you should have a nice, thick, lovely, tasty, sage flavoured sauce. There we go. All that needs to do now is just a little bit of pepper, a little bit of salt, and just give that a mix and leave to cool. Now, apologies if it does seem long-winded, but I promise you, it is worth it when we get to the final result. And we're nearly there now, so don't give up at the last hurdle. It's all about the assembly now. We've done all the important things. Now, the only thing I've got to tell you about is I've got some stuffing here. It's a sage and onion stuffing. Now, I'll be honest, I've used the shop-bought variety, which you just add hot water to. If you're doing it that way, don't worry about baking it in the oven. Just add the hot water, mix it up and leave it for a little bit, and it'll be absolutely fine to use in the way we're using it. Or you can use fresh stuffing or make your own stuffing if you've got time to do that, whatever you fancy doing. And I've also got some cranberry sauce which is going to come in just 1 second. So the first thing we want to do is get all the filling ready, and we're going to put our sausage, bacon and chicken into a bowl. It's all nicely cooled now, so just put all that into the bowl like so. And then the next thing we're going to add is some of this lovely stuffing. Now, just probably, if you're buying the little boxes from the supermarket, like you make it yourself, I would say probably use about half a box, half a packet. That would be about the right amount for this. And just mix all that together. And then we're going to add the sauce. The sauce we made earlier, which should be nice and cool now. And we're just going to dribble that on top. You might not need quite all of it. See how you get on. Mix that in. See how it's looking. Just combine it all together. Maybe just a touch more. And mix that in like so. And then the last thing to add to this filling is our cranberry sauce. Now, for this amount, I would say probably looking at about 3 teaspoonfuls. I wouldn't go any more than that, but I wouldn't go any less either, because you do want the taste of the cranberry. And just mix that in nicely. And this is our completed filling for the pasty. Let's have a little taste. Christmas in a bowl, Christmas. Okay. Next up is beat an egg into a little bowl like so. Now, pastry-wise, if you're going to make your own puff pastry, then you've got far too much time on your hands. So just use the shop-bought variety. It's much easier. I do make short crust on my own, but puff pastry wouldn't even bother. So just get it from the supermarket. It comes in a nice little roll like this. And all you need to do is roll it out. Now I would say probably about the width there, a width of a normal pasty and a bit extra because we need to do the joins. So we're going to just separate it like so, just a little slide with the knife. Can't do enough of that. And then just spoon the mixture into the middle. Now the recipe that I've given you is enough to make 2 pasties. Obviously times it by 2 if you want 4, etc, etc. So use half the mixture, just spoon it into the centre like so, and just into a mound. Just flatten it slightly. And what we're going to do now is just use the egg wash. Now you should use a brush. I've not got a brush, excuse the fingers. It's only me eating these, so who cares? But you should really use a brush. And just dab all around with your brush or your fingers, like so. And then we're going to pull up the bottom of the pastry, push it to the top, like so, and press down at the top and at the sides. Now if you've got a little bit too much filling, don't worry about it. It might seep out. Try and push it upwards if you can. And it will all come together once you push down at the sides, like so. Now all we need to do is trim off the excess with a knife. So just go around like this, just trimming off the excess pastry. And then we're going to use the egg wash on the top as well. Just rub it into the top, just give it a nice glaze once it's in the oven. And then just a couple of little slits just to let the steam out. 1, 2, should be plenty. And we're going to transfer this onto a little baking tin that I've lined with parchment paper. As you can see, just means you don't have to wash up the tray, really, and it doesn't stick. So just carefully separate the excess pastry from the pasty, like so, and then lift your pasty very carefully once again onto the baking sheet, like so. So we're just going to repeat all that for the other one. And once on the baking tray, we're going to put them into the bottom of a preheated oven. It should be about 180. Place it into the bottom of the oven and leave them there for about 15-20 minutes until they look done. You can normally tell just from looking if they're done. Right, well the good news is that by the magic of television, those 15 to 20 minutes have now elapsed and I can show you the results of what we've done today. I've also done the washing up, you might notice. But let's have a look in the oven. Are you excited? I know I am. Well, ladies and gentlemen, look at these. They're absolute beauties. Slightly larger than your average pasty, I would say. You can make them smaller if you want to. But let's get one off the tray and have a look. Although you probably should leave them to cool a little bit when you're making them at home. Nice and puffed up, as you can see. we'll have a little look inside. Oh yes, absolutely beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Look at that. So nice. So thank you for joining me today here on the 12 Days of Christmas Cooking with me, Richard Palmer. And I do hope that if you make my my recipe that we've done today, that you will post it on my Facebook so we can all have a look at how yours turned out. Let me know if you tasted it, what it tasted like, and I want to know all about it. And make sure you keep watching for another episode of the 12 Days of Christmas Cooking.